Hello there, my beautiful Pisces signs. It's Rachel with Dark Knight Coaching. Today's video is going to be all about you, Pisces. I do feel like you are a water sign, obviously, but you're going through some emotional turmoil at this time. It's exciting. It's new. It is a little bit bittersweet for sure, because you're moving out of an old mindset and into a new one. But I do feel like with change comes a lot of hesitation. I hesitated to even say the word hesitation. It's just maybe like you're having this like anxiety or this like you're not sure what to anticipate. You don't really know what direction it is that you're headed in, but it's different. That's all. So different doesn't have to be bad. Change doesn't have to be bad. It's all about your perception. Pain doesn't have to equate to suffering. There's a famous person that said that once. I rephrased that poorly, but I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say to you. So the first card I'm going to start off with is from my archetype deck. This one is called Apocalypsis. I don't read the oracle cards traditionally. The tarot cards I do read traditionally, but the oracle cards I mostly intuitively read. This one to me is like you feel like maybe you've gone through this sort of apocalypse where you're kind of alone in your own, I don't want to say battle, but mindset. You're maybe just no one really kind of gets you or gets along with you so well. And you're having a hard time finding relatable people with like the same ideology as you or the same value or belief system as you, which interestingly enough I pulled the wolf card for you as well, which is a very independent. A wolf is typically an independent creature. However, they can go in packs, but it kind of has to be like the right circumstance. So this card says emphasize a deep connection with your intuition and instincts. So Spirit really wants you to tap into your inner knowing, your inner knowledge, your inner gnosis, that inner wisdom to guide yourself out of this like apocalyptic feeling. And it could just be like this loneliness or like this end of the world energy that you've maybe been sitting in for a little bit too long. And I think that's going to be jump started by your expression. How do you express yourself? How do you express, it's hard to say. How do you express your creativity? How do you express your uniqueness? Like your own, I don't think you could see that at all. There we go. That's better. The glare with the sun coming in through the window, it's bright. This one says expression. You're ready to manifest your thoughts and transform them into acts of love. So what brings you joy? What brings you peace? What brings you harmony? Chances are no one's ever even asked you that question before. Chances are you've never even asked yourself that question, Pisces. Most of us find, we've lost ourselves in the humdrum monotony of, the grind. And then we like forget about what is it that brings us joy. Is it doom scrolling? Is it watching videos on the internet? Sometimes, maybe. But is it, you know what I mean? Is it what else stimulates you? Is there anything that wakes you up out of bed in the middle of the night that you're like, oh, I have to do that, I have to write that down, or I just had this epiphany about this thing that I've been creating, or I really want to go to the store and get that, I'm thinking Lego set. I don't know why I'm not into Legos, so that's messages for somebody watching, but maybe that's what it is for you, or maybe it's getting creative and sharing that gift with someone else, because your advice here with the Moon Oracle deck I pulled is time to give rather than to take, New Moon and Virgo. So maybe it's like creating something and donating that to a care facility, or creating art and donating it to someone. I don't know, like there's a lot of different avenues and outlets for that sort of thing. When I used to work at a children's hospital, a lot of people would bring in not just toys as donations, but they would like knit hats or scarves or whatever for them, and that was always a nice gesture. Or they would sometimes they would custom make like stuffed animals and those sorts of things, and that was just kind of a lovely kind thing to do, just to do it because somebody had the skill to crochet, to knit, to sew, and they for whatever reason felt guided to contribute in that way. So I do feel like that's what Spirit is asking of you now. Like, what is your form of expression, and how can you give back to to just do something kind. Karma does come back around, but it's in the instances where we do these little gestures, these tiny things that seem almost insignificant. That's when we can, like, I don't want to say like cash in our chits, but it is almost like a cashing in of our good karma that comes back to us at some point in time. And during this particular astrological time frame when you're watching this video, that's happening now over the next 5 months, there's a lot of shifts happening with our karmic energies. So the karma that we've been building from 2008 until now is coming into play very quickly over the course of the next 5 months. I think it started on the 29th of June and it's going until around November 15th, give or take a couple weeks. But we're going to see a lot of justice being served. People are going to have their judgment day, and you are going through that as well, Pisces. So, everyone has karma. We can't escape it, but it depends on the goodness and the intention and the purity and authenticity that you put out there over the course of the last, 16 years-ish. So it's just been, it can be good, it can be bad, it can be just a culmination of those things. And no one is perfect. So we all have good karma, we all have bad karma, we all, hurt people, whether that's intentional or unintentional. Again, that is up to you. So Spirit really wants you to know that you are on a new path, though. So whatever this chapter is for you, Pisces, you're moving forward divinely. You're guided as well. So this card says, I am beginning an exciting new path of self-discovery. And maybe it's taken this apocalypse or whatever happened, this thing, for whatever was the catalyst, basically, for your apocalypse. Maybe it took that to push you into this path of self-discovery, into this path of awareness, into this path of reflection, to try to decipher, like, how did I get here? How did this come to be? How did I let myself, fall into the hands of a lifestyle or a job or a career or something that really didn't suit you, possibly? Or, it could be a relationship or a friendship even. And I feel like you're finally moving out of that, like, sad point, the sad period, less sad, it's not gone completely, like your remorse or your regret or whatever it is involving this situation, but it's like you've moved into this, almost this radical acceptance of, okay, I can't do anything to change it, so what can I do next? It's like you're taking this baby step, like, show me the next step, these little tiny steps that are going to get you miles away eventually. It's just doing the little work, the little shadow work of the internal introspection that a lot of people will never do, because instead of taking accountability, most people end up shifting the blame onto someone else and making it someone else's burden that never probably really was. And the chakra card I pulled for you, which is kind of a confirmation of everything that I've just said, was acceptance. And I do feel like you're at this point of radical acceptance here, Pisces, of like, whatever happened to you, whatever you've gone through, like whatever you went through, whatever trauma it was. And we all have trauma, okay? No one can escape from that. Whatever it was not okay. It wasn't okay. It did happen. And you have a choice. You can learn from it, grow from it, and come to terms with it. Or you can let it haunt you. You can stay in regret. You can stay trapped in the past, which is regret and remorse and grief and sorrow. And it's a cycle if you get stuck in it. Or you can try to find a silver lining. You can try to learn and see the lesson and the blessing of what happened for you instead of what happened to you. And you can choose to be responsive instead of reactive. And when I was doing my meditation, oddly enough, when I pulled this card, it made me think of American Pie for some reason, the American Pie movie. That might resonate with some of you. I don't know why it came to mind. I'm not really like a big fan of that movie, but somebody might be. So that might be significant for someone out there. If it is, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps my channel to grow, and it lets me know that something in this message resonated for someone out there. So it's just helpful for me. Now, this chakra card also represents the root chakra, which is your base chakra, which is all about your fight or flight mechanism. So if you've been living in this like constant state of fear, walking on eggshells, you're not sure whether to stay or to run away, that is a root problem. That is probably a bigger issue than you think. And sometimes healing your root chakra is a very hard and long-term thing to do, because our root chakras, when we go through trauma, especially during childhood, they close, and that energy gets sent upward, which usually creates a very empathic person. So Pisces, you're probably a very empathetic person, and chances are you're very intuitive, but sometimes empaths can be very naive because they like to think, and I'm speaking from experience, I like to think people have pure intentions, and people are genuinely kind and genuinely good and genuinely pure of heart. And while some are, that's not always the case. So, and a lot of the times, empaths will find themselves drawn to more so narcissistic people because that's probably who they were raised by. And it's also like almost like a polarities thing, because we're all energetic beings, we're all electromagnetic beings. This is scientifically proven. And if you think about a magnet, the opposite polarities attract, and that's very much so the story, the narrative, the cycle, the very predictable case of an empath and a narcissist. And that might be why you're going through what you're going through as well. Now, the next card, let me get back to that one. I don't feel like with this one, working on your root chakra, I have videos on my page if you want to learn about how to heal your root chakra. That was kind of my point, because healing that can be very difficult. I highly recommend Reiki with a trained Reiki professional. There's websites you can go to kind of like vet them and make sure they have the proper certificates, basically. And Reiki is not a quick fix, okay? It takes like months or possibly even years of Reiki to get to a point where your chakras are open and aligned and healing and functioning properly. So if you don't know what a chakra is, check out the chakra video, and then you can check out the root video about your root chakra. And there's a lot of other things you can do besides Reiki as well to help heal that. Walking barefoot is the one thing I highly recommend at least once a day if you can. Just because you're grounding yourself, and the root is all about grounding and having stability and security and those sorts of things. Now, the next card I have for you is from my Wisdom Oracle deck, Pisces, and this is about the tribe. So if you've been having a hard time, just a difficult time finding your tribe, this could be a sign that like they're on their way, or you're building a tribe slowly. And it also comes with like building yourself back up again too. If you've been through this like apocalyptic, cataclysmic change, I do feel like you had to break out of old friendships. You had to break out of old relationships. You might have had to leave everything behind and everyone behind, leaving you this like lone wolf in a sense. And now you're like searching for this new tribe, this new pack to hunt with, basically. And you really want, you want quality over quantity. And I think holding out and waiting for the right people to come in is going to be of the utmost value to you at this time, not only for your mental health, but like your energetic health, because we absorb people's energy whether we really want to or not. That's just part of our interconnectedness. So if you're surrounding yourself with negative people, low vibrations, it's going to draw you down, and you really want to make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are in a position to help elevate you, or matching your frequency, essentially. So the next cards I have for you are the tarot cards. This is about the love situation, whatever is happening for you, or whatever has been happening for you. For those of you that are married, I do feel like there is some shifting happening. It doesn't have to be divorce necessarily, but I do feel like it is like almost like a separation of a separation of yourself. You're creating your own identity. And I think that's very important, because a lot of the times when people are married, especially for long periods of time, they enmesh themselves too much so into their significant other's life, and it creates this like trauma bond, toxic bond, codependency bond, stuff like that. Like it just basically you're stuck together like glue, and then you kind of lose yourself in the other person. And this is this thing that happens slowly and over time. It doesn't always happen quickly. Trauma bonds typically happen very quickly. Codependency can happen quickly as well, but like the losing yourself in another person, that takes longevity. And I feel like some of you might be releasing that because you're starting this new path, this new journey, whatever that is for you. Now, the past card I have for you is the Hanged Man. This is a major arcana card, which means this is a big chapter in your life that happened pretty recently. And the Hanged Man is all about perspective and perception and enlightenment. So you're seeing things clearly from a different angle, from a different view, from a different perspective. Maybe that's how you contributed to a relationship that was toxic. Maybe that's how, maybe you're seeing someone for who they truly are now instead of who you wanted them to be. That could also be the enlightenment that's happening for you, Pisces. The next card I have is the Five of Pentacles. This is your current energy. I feel like you're shifting out of this though, because I don't feel like you're so much, your energy doesn't feel heavy. And when I do meditations, I get like, it's almost like waves or whiffs of energy. And I know that sounds silly unless you've actually experienced that before, but sometimes how you meet somebody in a crowd and you just pick up on like their intentions, and you can just feel if it's a good nature, or if it's a bad vibe. That's what I can feel regularly, even through the internet, which sounds again a little silly unless you've felt it before, and then you know what I'm talking about. But your energy doesn't feel so much left out in the cold. Like it feels like maybe you were for a bit, and like you've gotten to the stage where you're at this acceptance mode. And they say there's 7 stages of grief. Psychologically, that's what they run with in traditional educational stuff when it comes to psychology, but it's not a straight line. Grief is a spiral. It's all over the place. It's a roller coaster. It's really wild, because one day you'll be fine, the next day you'll be like, I'm not okay, and you'll go back to one of the stages that you thought you were done with. And right now you're in this acceptance stage. It might be fleeting, but I feel like it's helping you transition out of this Five of Pentacles energy, out of the cold and into the new. Because your future energy is the Queen of Pentacles. So this is really tapping into your feminine side. This is tapping into your earthly nature. This is also going to help you with this root chakra, because the Queen of Pentacles is very like calm, cool, collected, stable, secure, financially secure. So if you've been working on something very hard, I do feel like that is coming your way, like financial security. If you've been worried about it, it is going to happen for you. It is a slow moving energy. I'm not going to say like you're going to win the lottery tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying. I wish we all could, but I do feel like you're establishing the building blocks of this calm, peaceful future for yourself and for your family and for, your loved ones. Now the underpinning or the subconscious card I pulled for you is Ten of Wands. This is baggage from the past. This is burdens, heavy burdens you're carrying. Maybe you feel like the weight of the world's on your shoulders and you can't let this go. And that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. Emotions are temporary. Everything does shift. This too shall pass. And with the Ten of Wands here, this is baggage from a past heartbreak for sure. And I only know that because right below that card was the Three of Swords. So a lot of you are struggling with heartbreak. It could be divorce. It could be betrayal. It could be just a friendship gone south or whatever. Maybe you feel like you've lost it all. Maybe you are losing it all. Maybe you're starting over and you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, you're in your 50s. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what age you start over. It matters that you follow your heart. It matters that you are true to yourself. It matters that you know your self-worth, your self-value, and that you know what you can offer to the world and what you're willing to accept back. So that's very important as well. Now, the next cards I have for you, Pisces, is from my love deck. So this could be your energy or the person that you've been going through a heartbreak with, whoever this is. If it resonates with you, you're going to know it. If it doesn't, then just leave it behind for someone else. But again, if this video is resonating, please hit the like button and subscribe. Now, the first card I have is others' opinions. And this is usually tied to traditional value systems and beliefs. So it says, I feel bound by my cultural and family's beliefs on how I should live my life. I'm working towards breaking free from limiting myself based on their beliefs. So if you're, maybe you're getting divorced and it's against your religious background or whatever it is, or maybe, your family's going to be very upset because you've been with this person for a very long time and they're just shocked and whatever. Who cares? They don't have to live in it. They didn't have to go through it. They don't really know what it's like to be with that person. They don't know all of the facets and the sides of them and the refractions of them that you got to see and be in and be with and come to find out, through time. With this, Hanged Man card, to me, this is like you see things differently because you're in a certain position. It's like people are looking from the outside in, but they don't see it all because the glare of the sun on the windows, like they don't know what it's really like inside. They think they do because they can see generally what it's like inside your house if they're looking from the inside out, but they don't know the whole interior landscape of the relationship or what's behind the closed doors of things that happen. And sometimes people put on a very good front to others deliberately. Typically that's a covert narcissist. Now, I'm not diagnosing anyone because technically there is no specific diagnosis for a covert narcissist. There's no test to take. It's just a series of personality traits that repeat itself, and you'll have to be the judge of whoever it is and whatever it is you're dealing with. Now, again, that being said, we all have narcissistic and empathic traits in all of us. So we're not immune to narcissism. Even if you're an empath, we all still have those leanings. Now, the next card I pulled is my dreams. It says, I've been dreaming about you in my dreams. We are so free and in love. I wish we could stay there forever. That is kind of par for the course for heartbreak. A lot of the times we find ourselves trapped in that like loop of regret, a loop of what if, a loop of woulda, coulda, shoulda, and it's hard to break out of that. It does take time because you're grieving the loss of a relationship, which, it's just like grieving any other loss. It is impactful because grief is essentially like all the love we held inside that we didn't get to put out there and all the potential, and it does hurt. It is painful. Now, the next and last card I have for you, and I just saw 2323 on the recording clock, is playing games. So you might want to look up angel number 23. And also 1818, because I saw that earlier. I just didn't mention it. This one says, this is a game to me, the way I'm acting, responding, or posting to get your attention. Now, if a lot of you are dealing with a narcissist or dealing with somebody who is narcissistic leaning, sometimes the best thing you can do for your own mental health, for your own well-being, is to not engage at all. That can be difficult if you have children, if you have responsibilities or joint things that you have to take care of and things of that nature. But gray walling, there's something, stonewalling, gray rocking, stonewalling, those are very common methods that you can use when it comes to narcissistic leaning personalities that can be very helpful. And it's basically you don't engage, or you engage as minimally as possible, and very short sentenced. Like typically err on the side of yes or no questions. If you have to ask a question at all, try to phrase it in a very simplistic way, which is not always easy, but that is my unsolicited advice to you, Pisces. So thank you for watching, Pisces. Thanks for being here. I hope this video helped. Again, if it did, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps my channel to grow, and I greatly appreciate it. If you're interested in a one-on-one coaching session with me, please feel free to reach out. Send me an email. We can get one booked. If you are interested in an individualized tarot reading or an oracle reading, I can do that as well. So please feel free to send me a message, and thank you so much for being here.